Thank God that didn't come on stream.
Yeah, this is though. Right, welcome to round 9 in Canada. Very highly anticipated. There will be rain, we believe, in the race. It is a wet and windy day in Montreal. Will we see rain in qualifying is the question.
I'm not so sure. I think it is going to be a dry quali. It'll be interesting to see if it is, to see who goes for a dry setup and who goes for a wet or inter setup. Have you got everything loaded on your end?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. I'm good.
that took you a while.
Yeah,
Right, so
internet's crap.
Q1 is underway. We have not seen a single driver come out of the pit
Movement
lane
in the Ferrari garage.
early, as Bad Boy Man does make his way out of the garage. First man out on track, so we will follow him on his warm-up lap and potentially his hot lap. Very tough circuit this one, isn't it? As we very well know.
Especially on last year's game. It was very difficult, especially with the chicane or multiple chicanes. Especially this one where Bad Boy Man is going through right now, and also the final one. Whereas car model and everything, it's going to be very interesting to see what the drivers do, especially with the curbs, as they seem to be very unpredictable here and there. But
yeah, we shall see as Bad Boy Man makes his way down the extremely long straight here in Montreal as he rounds the final corner to start his first flying lap and the first flying lap of qualifying. Takes a very wide line to avoid taking off any extra tyre where that he needs to. So the Aston Martin comes out of the
apex
pits.
into the first corner there.
It's
also
looking,
missed the apex again.
It's looking smooth though, it could be worse. The back end does look very stable. Hits both apexes there, and now the first DRS straight. The first opening on the new lap. As he takes that chicane very nicely indeed. Making his way now down to the hairpin. And it's very smooth, carries a lot of speed through that. As now onto the back straight. DRS wide open for the Ferrari driver. Where can this lap put him? It's a clean banker lap, you would say. As long as he doesn't invalidate, which he doesn't, and he keeps it well within track limits. It's a 1:12.1 from Bad Boy Man. That's the bar for everyone else to beat. As Sus puts in a 1:12.6 in the Haas. Who else coming up to the line? Adman Trev goes P1. The Haas of Dennis is just starting his lap. Alvaro is also just about to start his lap. So we look at Rob J. Lewis, who's going to come around the final corner now. And he invalidates on the first part of the chicane.
Sergio Silva next up to cross the finish line.
He was unfortunate to be involved in the accident at the beginning of the last race in Azerbaijan. Can he make up for it in quali? He's out of VRS. and it's a 1:12.7. You wonder how he's lacking ERS so badly there. As East crosses the line,
unfortunately invalidates in the final chicane.
You got Tees starting his flying lap. Jake the Lad starting his flying lap. We'll run on board with Jake for now in the Mercedes. Missed the last couple of weeks, hoping to come back with a good points haul.
And Dennis is coming up to the final chicane as he cuts that perfectly, it seems like, as he's making his way to the finish line right now.
It's
but unfortunately not enough.
1:12.4. He beats his teammate into P3 as we stay on board with Jake the Lad, who gets a nice tow off the Red Bull of... It wasn't a Red Bull, sorry, it was a Ferrari of Newlat on the outlap. Lots of traffic in the way of this lap here for Jake. And he locks
as Neil Cendric goes second fastest with a 12.0 as well, right behind Admin Trev in the McLaren. And it seems Banter Brandon is finally coming out of the pits.
Can Jake the Lad navigate this final 2 corners correctly? He can, and he keeps it in track limits. There's a Williams of T's round, and Jake the Lad puts it on P1 for now. How long can he stay there for? Newlat has just started his flying lap in the Ferrari, which you'd expect to excel around a track like this. As the driver R28 goes P8, reserving in that Aston Martin today.
Xavi also invalidates his lap, going up to the finish line as well.
It's a purple sector 1 for Newlat in 19.7. As he carries on, opens up the DRS for the second time this lap technically.
And Noxie passes the line and goes P1 in the Alfa Romeo with a 11.85.
The winner of the best division in his
and
country, and Henke beats it by a reasonable margin of 0.2 in an Aston Martin. That is a phenomenal lap from Henke. Where can Newlat put his Ferrari in comparison? It's a much better car. Is it a much better driver? As Newlat opens DRS, straight line to the line, and it's a 1:10.6. It's a whole second faster than Henke. That is exactly where you'd expect Newlat to be. As he spins it, he keeps out all just. East on an outlap. Cyclo is on his real lap.
Xavi is going to the finish line now. He seems quite staggered as he goes through the final chicane, and Xavi is only enough for P4.
As Rob is about to cross the line to start a new lap, I believe. Basil's invalidated, so we ride on board with Cycler going down the back straight. Where can he put this Mercedes? Is it going to challenge Jake up there for P5? We'll find out momentarily.
As he does hit the wall of champions.
It's only a one... Oh, it's not only, sorry. That's a very good lap time. My bad. I misread that. 1:11.8 puts him above his teammate. P5 and P6 for the Mercedes. Very, very impressive.
So it does seem Banter Brandon did invalidate his lap, or he might have just done a out lap to in lap, as he hasn't actually put in a lap so far. As Ifni is going to start his lap right now.
He may have invalidated. He has. He's invalidated this and next lap. He will not go this lap. Has he got enough fuel on board to go again? Yes, he does. 3.3 laps. Can afford to do an extra warm-up lap. As Jake comes out again very soon after going in. They look like fresh tyres to me. They do look fresh. It'd be interesting if they are, because I think he's probably safe there with a 1:11.9. Wouldn't expect to need him. You wouldn't have expected him to need to do this. Is there anyone currently on a lap? Dennis is on a lap. Dennis is up by a lot. It's a fake purple in sector 1 there, don't believe that, because that was worse than new laps 19.7. But it's still a very good lap here from the Haas driver. It's very smooth on the throttle as he heads down into the hairpin. Keeps it tight to the apex. Gets the power down very early, very nicely. Will he be able to get
up on his lap so far?
Will he be able to get a toe off anyone down this straight? It wouldn't appear so. The car in front needs to get a hurry on, and he does. As Dennis around the final corner,
This might be good enough for P3.
comes to the line. It's
P2
in a Haas. The top 4 drivers consist of a Haas, an Aston Martin, and an Alfa Romeo. This is quite phenomenal. You can look at race director Claire New, by the way. I know Henke, but I need strategists to do that, and he needs some brain cells to be able to do that. So,
Excuse me?
as somebody did just improve their lap time there, but I didn't quite see who. Sergio Silva is coming down the back straight now. He's
As
up
Xavi does crash.
marginally.
In P15.
Xavi has crashed. Xavi's out of qualifying. I didn't even notice that. Brandon will go past the scene of the wreckage. Xavi has lost it into the inside wall. He will start no higher than P15. As we go back on board with Sergio Silva, who's just completed his lap. Jake the lad is up by 2.5 tenths coming around the final corner now. It's squirrely, but he still gets power down.
If
And
he
it's
goes P7 in the...
P4 for Jake the lad, splits the Aston and the Alfa Romeo. And yeah, you're right, Strat. If the only P7, he will not be happy with that.
He's also got P11 in the Williams, which is not bad considering Babbelman is only a tenth quicker in the Ferrari.
Who is next across the line? Brandon is on a lap. Brandon is on a flying lap, 42.2 after the middle split. As he takes the last 2 corners very nicely. A bit slow, but very cleanly. And he crosses the line with a 1:10.9. That's comfortable for P2. Lots of breathing room between him and Dennis in the Haas in P3. Next across the line, is it the Alpha of Faisal? It is. As he opens up DRS on the start-finish straight, he will cross the line for a 1:12.3 P13.
And
Not Alvarez, Noxie
is starting it on his lap.
Noxie is starting a new lap. The driver has invalidated his lap. He will go again, you'd imagine, on this same set of tyres.
Rob J. Lewis is on an out lap, so...
East is on a lap.
East?
No, he's not. He's on an out. No, he's invalidated, which is why he's going again.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Don't want to waste a set of tyres. The Red Bull of Ifni comes into the pits. Alvaro will also come into the pits after invalidating his lap. He still has yet to set a time. So is Rob J. Lewis, who is
Noxie
on a
is the
lap,
next to
I
cross the
believe.
finish line, as he's gone purple in the middle sector. Not sure if that is properly purple, but he is only a tenth up on his lap so far.
East has invalidated his lap again. Henke thinks
does
he's
retire in the
safe in
pits.
P4. It's a very good 1:11.6 there from the Aston Martin. Should see him through. Drivers are
Can
struggling
Noxie
to get times
improve
on
as
the
he
board.
goes through the final chicane as he invalidates?
So our attention turns to the driver who's also invalidated his lap. East invalidated his lap. Rob J. Lewis is on a lap, and he's not invalidated it.
R28 has also invalidated his lap. And I think that may be it for everyone on track.
No,
Unless Rob
Rob's
J.
on a lap.
Lewis.
Yeah, he's on a lap. As he comes
He
up
seems really down on his lap though. He may have made a mistake
final
somewhere.
corners, he does finish the lap. He's not down on any lap time because he's not set one yet. So this is just his first lap of the session. It's a 1:15.0. It is a Williams at the
Big
end of the day.
improvements.
It is a Williams, and we've not seen anyone this season be able to push that Williams quite like Tees has. Been a phenomenal driver this season, Tees.
As he is now, Tees is now on an out lap. Obviously, I'm new to all of this. How are the league about people on out laps and in laps corner cutting?
As long as it doesn't get in the way of anyone, and it doesn't gain time, or generally if it goes unnoticed, it's not fine.
I've caught
but
a few people.
they get away with it.
Yeah.
Considering our league owner does it all the time, I'm not sure quite how I'm meant to react to that. As Tees does start his flying lap in P12, this will be his only run of this session. He needs 4/10 to beat Xavi, and
As he invalidates straight
he can
away.
go again. That's fine for him. He's got
does
enough,
have enough
fuel.
fuel.
Just enough fuel. As Alvaro is he on, no, he's about to start a new lap. He's about to start a lap. Is Alvaro taken 2 warm-up laps here? Interestingly enough, as he finally starts his flying lap as Sergio Silva. Yeah, crosses the line to start a new lap. Who is on a lap? East on an out lap. You've got the driver also on an out lap. The Williams behind him of Tees has invalidated. That's not good news for him.
Noxie.
He's got enough fuel on board.
Noxie has gone purple again.
How many runs does Noxie want to do this session? He is safely through there with a 1:11.8. He is elected to not stop during this qualifying session, and he's going to get a tow hit from the Williams driver.
That might be enough to promote him up to P3 if he nails this final chicane,
and he goes into the pits.
Not to.
The person who was on a lap, you went off? I don't know what you mean, Harvey. As Tees will start another flying lap. This will be his last of the session. As Alvaro is also on a lap going around the final corner, needs to lift himself out of the drop zone. Currently P19, where will this put him? It's only enough for P17, and I don't believe he's going to be able to go again, so he will be out of qualifying. Sergio Silva, only P14. Faisal is about to start his lap. East has gone around the hairpin, he's invalidated, he will have enough time to go again. Sus also on an out lap.
Driver R28 is 700ths down on his lap so far, as he's going through the final hairpin.
The driver now down this very, very long straight. Niels thinks he's safe in P10. The driver round the penultimate and the final corner invalidates. That is his quali done. The driver will be out of qualifying.
Tees is a 10th up on his lap so far in P12 as he goes to the finish line.
P6. What a lap for the Williams driver.
Alvaro does invalidate his lap.
Rob is
not have enough time, I believe.
Again, doesn't look.
Alvaro is out.
Alvaro is also out. So Alvaro and driver are both out. Sergio Silva has invalidated this lap. Faisal will cross the line to improve by 1.5 tenths basically, and it's good enough for P13 as we now turn our attention
and
to
Sergio Silva spins. Sergio Silva spins on his final lap, and that may hinder him as he may be out in Q1.
East to come around the final corner.
Invalidates.
East
yet
will
again.
start P20 in the McLaren. Sus needs to improve to get out of the drop zone.
As he nails that final chicane, as he does hit the wall slightly.
Is it enough?
Will it be enough?
It's
yes,
14.
It will.
Alvaro, Sergio Silva, the driver, Rob J. Lewis, and East are the 5 out in qualifying as Rob J. Lewis has invalidated his lap.
And Xavi's just got away with that.
No, he hasn't. He will start P15.
Oh, yes, he will.
Yeah, the highest he could have started when he crashed out was P15. Luckily for him, not everybody managed to beat his lap time. So there you have it. We have lost Sergio Silva, Alvaro Jabas, the driver R28, Rob J. Lewis and East from this qualifying session. East will be mightily disappointed that he didn't even set a lap time. The Aston Martin of the driver will look at his teammate up in P4 and wonder what more he could have done. Alvaro the same with Noxie in P7. And Sergio Silva giving a tow to Faisal all the way around Faisal's final lap. Didn't quite manage to get out of qualifying himself.
East's best lap was a 12.2. I don't know where exactly that would put him.
That would have put him P14. He would have been through if he didn't invalidate.
It's very unfortunate. Let's just hope he can make positions up in the race, as we know it will be a somewhat wet race for the majority of it. But did anyone shock you in that first qualifying? Philip?
Other than East, I wouldn't say there was an unexpected qualifying there. I mean, the two drivers who I mentioned whose teammates finished very high up, they are in a very poor car in, well, Rob, driver and Alvaro. They're not in good seats, but, well, the shock really is Xavi, isn't it? P15 in the Alpine, crashing out, and it was his own fault. I believe he was on an in-lap as well when he did it. Rob has got a high downforce setup on, so he is set up for the rain. Starting P19, he's going to have a lot of work to do.
It will be interesting to see if Noxie and Alfa Romeo, Tees and Henke, all in the much slower cars, can keep this pace up and stay with the Mercs and the Red Bulls and Ferraris, as Ifni did struggle, it seems like, on that first qualifying, and same with Bad Boy Man a bit.
As the green light is on at the end of the pit lane for Q2, who will we see first out of the pit lane?
Bad Boy Man, and I'm not sure who that is out. Noxie, is that? Noxie, Bad Boy Man, and it seems the Alpine are the first three out.
So we will ride on board with Noxie. We'll ride on board as well, so you can see perfectly from his, well, the top of his helmet really. You'll be able to see everything he does.
You want to run us through a lap when he starts us?
Yes.
As you have a lot of track experience, or you have a lot of experience around this track already, it seems like.
Hardly.
From all your time trials. Especially in the wet.
I'm not a time trial merchant at all. So he does go around the final corner now to start his lap. As he goes through turn 1 into turn 2 very nicely, short shifted up to 4th to gain maximum traction as he takes the first chicane, takes it very nicely, both the right and the left, his outside wheel is perfectly on the line. As now he nails that as well. It's a very good lap so far from Noxie. His sector 1 was very good, and currently this sector 2 is looking very fine as well. as yet another chicane around this Montreal track that's quite famous for them, believe it or not. Down into the hairpin, brake very hard, let the car roll, try and get on acceleration as quickly as possible, up to fourth again to get maximum traction. There's yellows ahead, that is the two Mercedes slowing down to get ready to start their lap. Down into the penultimate and the final, with the final chicane of the circuit. He opens up DRS, straight line down to the line, and it's a 1:11.8. That's not quite as good as his Q1 time, as Bad Boy Man right behind him does improve an Adman Trev, so you'd assume Noxie was on used tyres there. I wouldn't...
Bad Boy Man improved by, or beat Noxie by four attempts in the final sector.
Sus is yet to start a proper lap. He has not used any of his ERS. Ifney is on an out lap. Brandon's still yet to leave the pits, which he doesn't do very often in that Red Bull. It's normally one and done.
Is next to cross the
Henke
line.
has also invalidated, so we are left with T's coming towards the line now, and it's a 1:11.4 for the Williams driver. That is a great lap to put him ahead of the Ferrari. Basil starts his out lap. Brandon is finally coming out of the
Jake
pits.
the toe down the straight as Jake does the final chicane pretty nicely as he goes to the finish line now, and it will be provisional pole.
1:11, not provisional pole. We're not quite in Q3
Oh,
yet.
sorry.
Don't get excited.
Sorry about that.
As Noxie goes into the pits, Adman Trev will follow, you'd assume, and he does.
Sus also invalidates his lap somewhere in sector 2 as Ifney is right behind him, gonna finish his lap.
He's going to get a nice toe off the Haas down this straight. The Haas needs to get out of the way, which he does. It's good driving from Sus. And Ifney rounds the final two corners very nicely indeed. Gets the power down early, opens up the DRS. And it's a 1:11.7, which puts him P4 in the Red Bull. He'll be disappointed with that. He's doing donuts. Faisal opens up DRS.
He does make a tiny mistake in the final chicane.
It's a 1:12.6. That's down on his previous lap time in Q1, sorry. Brandon will start his flying lap next as Cycler behind dives into the pits. Jake will also dive into the pits as he's just finished his lap.
I think Cycler's coming out of the pits actually.
Oh, Cycler is coming out of the pits. My bad.
Finally goes purple in sector 1 as he nicely navigates his way through sector 2 right now, opening DRS. As it seems Ifney may have made a mistake at the end of sector 2 going up to the hairpin, or are they going to give Brandon the slipstream down the straight? I think that's what the Red Bulls are planning on trying to do here, as Brandon goes purple in sector 2 as well. Will he go purple here?
Ifney is in the perfect position here to give Brandon a great toe to put him up to P1, as Ifney you'd expect now to wheel away. He doesn't, he just goes straight into the pits, it's fair. As Brandon now to the line, this is going to be a phenomenal lap. It's a 1:10.9, puts him 3/10 clear at the top of quali.
As Cycler is going to start his lap, and same with Neil Cendric. And Dennis is going to finish his lap as he's opened the DRS down the straight. And it puts him P8 for now, right behind Noxie in the Alfa Romeo,
who is about to start a flying lap after he completes the final straight. Newlap is on a lap. Can he elevate himself higher than Banter Brandon? full P1 in qualifying.
Unfortunately, he has had no toe down the straight, which may hinder his sector 3 a bit. But will it be enough? And yes, it will!
1. It's 8/10 clear. That is just quite outstanding. As Noxie starts his lap, Cyclo will finish his lap. He takes the final chicane nicely. And it's a 1:10.9 for Cyclo. Puts in P2.
Surprisingly, Brandon lost 2/10 to Nulat in the final sector.
As Niels
even with
puts
the
a P6 in the McLaren. This McLaren is able to finish his lap. Dennis goes into the pits. Suss will likely dive into the pits after invalidating his lap. Henke's also invalidated. It's not a good day today for those invalidating.
He will go again, but I'm not sure if that's also invalidated his next lap.
No, it
hasn't.
So we will ride on board with Henke here because he is the only driver out on track to be on a flying lap.
As he does invalidate, unfortunately. And Noxie does improve by 6/10, promoting him up to P5. That may see him through into Q3 if he's able to improve. He may have to improve a bit more.
He's purple again by 2 and a bit tenths.
I think that was by accident as well. It seems Noxie has a ton of pace in that Alfa Romeo. It will definitely be interesting to see who actually is quick in the wet come the race.
So there we have it. All 14 drivers are back in the pits. Jake the lad thinks he's safe.
So does Nulat. But he definitely is with that lap time. And that is the Haas of TTL Dennis coming out.
We get a lovely shot that I didn't mean to get of his right hand side of his cockpit. It's not a great looking camera, this. There we go. As we do ride off board with Dennis's outlap. It's the only entertainment we've got on track at the moment. So Henke, after his phenomenal Q1 performance, needs to pull a lap out of the bag here in Q2 to get him through, as he's currently not set a lap. Same with Suss, he also needs to finish a lap. Faisal's 6/10 down on P11, so he needs to gain quite a bit of time, as Dennis in P11 will come around and start his lap soon. As Dennis now does come across the line to start his final flying lap of Q2. He takes turn 1 in 4th, down to 3rd, as he goes all the way up to 5th just to try and find the traction. That Haas really not liking it. Keeps it clean through the first chicane. And now into the second. He invalidates it, unfortunately. His teammates just come out on his outlap, same as Faisal, so our attention turns to Ifni, who's also invalidated it. Adman Trev behind him will get the nice toe off Ifni. Going through sector 2. He does keep it clean. He won't, because Ifni does do a good job at pulling aside. Adman Trev. Comes down to the hairpin. Let's see his throttle input here, as you expect him to let the car roll and start as he does. Very nicely, very close to that wall, really pushing the edge of the track.
Henke unfortunately spins it in the chicane.
We'll ride on board with Henke after this, see how much fuel he's got on board. As Adman Trev rounds the penultimate and final. And he comes across the line. He needs an improvement, and he gets one. It's P7 for Adman Trev. Ifni needs to go again. Faisal will start his flying lap. Niels will start his flying lap as well. Tees is about to start his. So we will ride on board with... Is anyone on a lap currently? Dennis is. Dennis is on a lap.
Dennis.
Oh wait, Sus also could be.
Yes,
Sus is on a lap. So Sus will be the first to cross the line.
I'm not sure why Noxios came out here.
He obviously thinks he hasn't done enough.
But he will give the toe to every driver behind him now.
As Sus does get a nice run on him in the Haas. Can he do anything to lift the Haas into Q3? Which would be a phenomenal achievement for a car which has really struggled this season. Struggled to find permanent drivers. It's only P12. Dennis to cross the line. It's P6. He may have just got himself in.
As Bad Boy Man's
just started his lap. He's only just starting his lap.
Oh no, sorry, yes, he has. Ifni has it also invalidated his lap, and that is Ifni.
No, Ifni will get to go again. But he will struggle with the RS towards the end of his lap.
Basil's
invalidated. That's not Adman Trev, that's Tees. Tees crosses the line, and it's P6. He overtakes Dennis.
Adman invalidates and starts again.
It quits into the pits.
And Henke is the last one, or is the next one to cross the line.
Is going to be the next one to cross the line. This is it. It's all or nothing here for LTX Henke. Can he get through to Q3? He cannot.
No,
he is
cannot.
Out in Q2 after such a good qualifying one. He is out with a 1:11.6, currently P11. Could drop that down further as Bad Boy Man now down the back straight. He is 7.5 tenths up. This could be good enough for a P2 maybe. He had a phenomenal drive last week, got himself onto the podium, and it's a P2. It's a great lap to finish qualifying. Sus retired in the pit lane. He cannot do anything else.
Ifni is only a tenth up on his lap so far.
On a lap next. And he's invalidated.
As he invalidates
the Red Bull
yet
Ifni
again.
is out of qualifying.
Facial 7 tenths up. As he does the final chicane perfectly.
Can he improve? It's a 1:11.7, but it's early enough to lift him to P13.
Neil Cendric finishes P7.
Does improve. So the 4 out in Q2 due to Xavi's crash in Q1 is Henke, Ifni, Faisal and Sus. Henke had no ERS in the back straight. He knows how he messed up with that previous spin. As now we just wait on Tees to get back round to the pit lane or the finish line. It's unlucky for Henke, who had a big spin on his first of the final flying laps. And yeah, big stretch after that. As now we wait for Tees and the Williams garage to wheel him back into the pits. There we have it. So Ifni in the Red Bull is out in P12. That is the shock of qualifying He has pulled a Sergio Perez move, and that is not good for the Red Bull team. Banter Brandon all the way up in P4 will not be happy with his teammate here. Ifney helped Brandon with a toe, and it was only enough to put him P4, but Brandon will not get that advantage in Q3.
So who do you think is going to take pole position for tonight's race?
My call for quali will be... I'm going to go with Newlat in the Ferrari. It's just so well suited to this track.
I think it's just a safe option, isn't it? Being 7 to 8 tenths up against his own teammate, who was also P2 in Q2.
So Noxie is once again the first driver out on track. He has got so many reps in this qualifying session. I'd be intrigued to know how...
I think he's done 3 laps in both qualies so far. Like, he must not have that many tyres left. As he starts his lap for Q3.
Up into 4th again. Very surprising there, because you'd think you could get the most time up holding in 3rd.
I think Bad Boy Man has just hit the wall as he has now invaded his lap. He may have wing
We're
damage.
riding on board with Noxie here, because this is quite a good lap again from the Alfa Romeo driver. He is so consistent. I mean, it's purple, but that's only because he is the first driver out on track.
I believe Dennis does beat that by going purple in Sector 2, but I may be wrong.
And Noxie does take that final chicane very nicely indeed, as he comes to the line with a 1:11.2. Is that on fresh tyres or is that on used? Dennis now to cross the line. P1!
There's 11.0.
It's a very good lap time again. Adman Trev P3. You've got Banter Brandon crossing the line next. It's 1:10.4. Wow. Banter Brandon showing once again why he's on top of the driver standings.
5 tenths clear.
5 tenths clear. Were they on these tyres or was that a fresh set? We'll find out, because we've got other drivers here on the lap. Jake has invalidated. Cyclo is just coming out the pits now. Tease is about to cross the line. And it's a 1:12.0. Niels is on an outlap. Newlat is on a lap. Coming round
the purple in Sector 2.
final corner. This will show us where Banter Brandon's pace really is at. How does it compare to the Ferrari driver? It is 5/10 slower than the Ferrari. New lap on pole, on provisional pole, with a 1:09.9. As Noxie comes into the pits, you'd imagine streamer drivers now back into the pits. Jake the lad has just, well, not just, he's in the middle sector, but he's on a flying lap because he did invalidate his first run.
Maybe this is Cyclo trying to give Jake the lad the toe again, and yes he is.
Maybe he's weaving a lot and he's not going fast enough here to keep Jake behind him for very long. Cyclo's not done a great job there. Jake will appreciate it anyhow though, as he goes through the final 2 corners. Opens up DRS, and it is a 1:11.1. Very tight there between 3rd, 4th and 5th. As you can see there,
Cendric now crosses the line and is only enough of
P6
P6 with 11.37.
So Cyclo now the only driver on a lap. We're right on board with him.
Goes down to 2nd there. It's very interesting seeing what gears different drivers use.
It's a bit cheeky there from Jake cutting that corner because he's done that so he can give Cyclo the toe. Stewards will be keeping an eye on this. As Cyclo now down the long back straight. As Jake turns on ERS for this, and DRS moves aside. Cyclo now to come around the final 2 corners. He takes it cleanly. And it is a 1:11.0. That puts him all the way up to P3. 1,000th in it between him and Dennis in the Haas. That just goes to show how good that lap from the Haas driver was. That is a good lap from Cyclo to put him into P3, exactly where the Mercedes would want to be at this point. But Dennis in the Haas, really the standout currently. As Adman Trev is on an out lap, ready to go again. If he's not calculated this correctly, this could be his final lap of this session. It's going to be very tight to go again and to get back into the pits to go one last time. Would you like to take us through this lap?
Nope.
I thought that was going to be your answer. As Trev does go down into 2nd for the 2nd corner. Can't quite get on the power as early as those drivers who take it in 3rd and up to 4th. Nevertheless though, showing real pace here is Adman Trev. He's already out-qualified his teammate who crashed out in Q1, and that's an invalidation. It's unlucky there for Adman Trev. He'll be disappointed in himself.
We will see him go into the pits though, and he will hopefully have a final run with every other driver on track as Noxie comes out the pits for
very early on.
The final time.
It's a very early time to come out for your final run. I don't know what is going on here because he's also now
is it to
right
burn
down.
The fuel? I think he's trying to burn the fuel to have one final run to maximise it.
I am very confused by what he's doing here.
It's to burn the fuel. So the minimum amount of fuel you can run is 3.3 laps, which is why a lot of drivers are doing back-to-back laps. So Noxie is trying to get fuel down as much as possible so he only has enough for one final lap of the race. Quite a smart tactic. I'm surprised no one else has decided to follow suit.
He's not burning any more fuel than he normally would, is he?
If you hold the acceleration and the brake at the same time,
really doing much,
it doesn't seem to be doing a lot, but he does need to warm up with his tyres though. They are going to be very cold when he starts his lap. and I think he is aware of that.
It's a very odd thing we're watching right now. Never before in the history of RPL have we ever seen anything like this.
I don't think I've ever seen that in any league racing, really. But we do finally have other drivers coming out the pits as Dennis and Neil Cendric are making their way through Sector 2 right now. And then followed by Bad Boy Man in the Ferrari who hasn't set a lap yet.
So is Noxie going to start his lap now, or is he going to do one more lap? He is going to start it now.
He's going to start it.
So here goes Noxie on his final flying lap in the Alfa Romeo. Where can he put this machine that's, well, he's undrivable really, but he seems to be able to drive it.
This Sector 1 doesn't seem as tidy as his first one.
He's up by 500, so that's proved you wrong.
It has indeed.
And it's very, very clean through there. Uses all the road necessary.
One and a half tenths up on his lap so far, which will only see him hit Q3 for the time being, unless he nails this final chicane. As you see, it's very tight to the wall there to maximise the amount of time as possible. As Dennis is out, it seems like after a spin in Sector 2, as he may hinder everyone else's lap.
Noxie comes across the line.
And there's enough for P3.
That is a very good lap. Indeed. Will that be beaten by any of the drivers below?
And Brandon has spun it as well in Sector 2 and has wing damage after only being a tenth up on his lap.
So he will not beat... Jake is also out. Jake has crashed out.
Jake is also out. That is 3 drivers out here already.
Lots of drivers just trying to push their absolute hardest.
Tease does go deep into the final hairpin as he was 4.5 tenths up on his lap so far.
Bad Boy Man has invalidated, so he will go again as long as he hasn't just invalidated his next lap.
Has also invalidated his lap.
Niels will go again. Tease is about to finish his lap. Tease goes P8. That's very good in the Williams. It's a solid effort. As now Adman Trev has invalidated Brandon, like you said. He's going to have to do this lap on wing damage.
He was a 10th down in Sector 1. Will he be up in Sector 2? And yes, he is. He goes purple in Sector 2. Only 800ths up so far. As he has a tiny look up into the hairpin, it seems like. As he now gets to run by Noxie in the Alfa Romeo. And this will improve Nulat's time if he's able to nail this final part of the track. And yes, he does, as he goes to the finish line now, opening the DRS for the final time of this race. And improves by a tenth.
What can his teammate do, who hasn't set a lap yet and is in 10th?
Psycho in P5 is also going to finish his lap as he hits the wall as well. As he also opens up the DRS for the final time, running out deployment, and that is enough for P4.
What about the other Ferrari? It's enough for P7. Niels takes the P7 off him. Tease is invalidated. Adman is invalidated. Brandon has got wing damage and he's down by 12 seconds.
Is it.
So that is it for qualifying. Nulat does take pole.
I guess she was right after all.
I mean, very strange circumstance there on the final lap. Lots of spins.
A lot of drivers just pushing it to the limits, it seems like. But Nulat on top by 7 tenths.
Noxie though, P3 in an Alfa Romeo. Dennis, P5 in a Haas. Very, very impressive stuff. And don't forget T's up there again in the Williams. This is now going to be an interesting race, especially with the weather.
That is a great result for Noxie though, especially in Alfa Romeo. But that is a phenomenal lap by Nulat.
It's just quite incredible. So, we're only through the final order of the top 10. It's Nulat in pole. Banter Brandon will line up alongside in the second row. Noxie and Cyclo share the second row. Dennis and Jake line up P5 and P6. A phenomenal performance in the Haas. Neil's in the McLaren. His teammate starts from the back. Bad Boy Man in P8. T's in P9. The Williams, again, incredible. And Adman in P10. Who, unlike his teammate, made it through to Q3 yet again. We are in for a very interesting race here, Strat.
Yes, we are indeed. And this is where it's gonna. Now we're gonna see who's actually running a wet setup for this race and who was actually running a dry setup, as the majority of this race is going to be wet.
So that looks like intermediate condition to me.
I can't see the.
They look like green stripes.
I can't see it.
So now they will get underway with their formation lap, led by Nulat on pole.
We've got a very diverse. Diverse? Is that the right word to use here?
I guess so, considering the top 10. Other than the Ferraris and the Mercs, you've got all different teams.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how
Nobody
quickly,
is really
if they
with
can
a
get
teammate.
through the pack.
The same with Xavi, who did crash out, unfortunately.
And East back there in the McLaren. That's not a bad car either. It's a 35 lap race here. It's a very long one.
Would you like to do the lights?
Yeah, I can do.
So who do you think's going to win this race?
I prefer not to speak on that.
Don't want to curse anyone.
So Xavi did floor it into the wall in quali, looking at his phone.
Is that what it said?
Yeah. Good little bit of insight.
Of course it's not relevant. Of course it's not relevant, but that's why you don't text and drive.
Probably what he was doing.
Should get points on his license for that.
And a hefty fine. Right. Here we go then, as drivers are coming on to the start-finish straight. They're going to line up. Let's see how well Nulat does it. Angles so very much so to the right. As all the cars behind follow suit on the right-hand side of this grid.
Noxie does the exact same as Nulat, angling his car to the right-hand side of the track.
Dennis has not. Tees has been disqualified, and there is a Adman. No, it's not Adman. Sorry, it's a Xavi who has properly messed that up by spinning into his grid slot, into the wall. So here we go. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5, and it's lights out, and away we go for the Montreal race. As Brandon gets an excellent start, and he's already passed Nulat into turn 1, and Noxie at the back of Nulat. Don't want to be doing that in these conditions. Jake trying effortlessly, can't talk.
Effortlessly to get into P4 as he gains 2 positions so far. Iffy up 3 paces already as they tried to go. As
side
Dennis
by
and
side.
Tees go side by
And
side.
Tees cuts the grass. He does a Sebastian Vettel. And they're
This is
still
very good
fighting
for
out.
the
And Bad Boy Man and Ifni are side by side. Bad Boy Man does have to concede, but they
As
touch.
he does hit the back of Ifni.
And now I believe the Aston Martin went into the back of the Ferrari, but they're fighting all three of them.
As
They're going to go
they want to
three
go
wide.
try 3 wide into the chicane as
The pace of the Ferrari
Allen
was
tried
just
back
too
out and
much.
let. And
As
that is
Jake gets
Ifni
past
who went
Noxie.
off track.
Noxie's had a moment because Cycler's also on him. Going to go down the inside into the hairpin. Noxie does very well to hold on to that position after his error earlier. So Banter Brandon has pulled away at the front by 2 seconds. Behind Newlap is Jake the Lad. To Noxie, to Cyclo, to Niels, who's fallen quite a bit back now. As Ifni gets past the Haas of Dennis, who had such a good qualifying in the dry, but struggled to get going here in the wet. Although Ifni's made a mistake. Ifni's made a mistake around the final corner. And Dennis will get him back as Cyclo is side by side with Noxie again for P4. As this time he makes the move stick.
Banter Brandon has completely legged it this race.
And if
as he is now
has
2.5
past
seconds
Dennis,
up on Newlap.
this is Banter Brandon's race to lose, it looks like. As we get a squirrely moment ahead. And it's the Haas of Dennis who was doing so well. He's just been overtaken by 3 or 4 drivers.
And now he's lost 7 positions on only lap 2.
And there's a
virtual safety car.
I don't know why. What's this for?
I'm not sure either.
There's no damage to the Haas.
So many drivers have exceeded track limits though.
And there's another one most
Total
likely
of
from Sharvey.
9.
Sharvey
10.
probably deserved that one. As East is still stuck at the back here behind Rob J. Lewis and Sergio Silva. Let's have a look at the biggest gainers. Got Ifni up 4. Dennis has lost 7 places. Jake the Lad is up 3 from P6.
T's also up 3 from P9.
As the virtual safety car, I don't know why it's
as
out.
Bad Boy Man goes into the pits.
So
oh,
maybe...
he must have end plate damage, I believe that is.
And
As Newlap gets a drive-through penalty. That is not good. And Bad Boy Man did have damage.
That's green light.
And so did Sharvey. So there seems to have been contact at the back with, I don't know who they may have had contact with.
As Ifni's now pressing Niels to try and get past, as they both make the exact same squirrely error on the exit. Cycler now is getting very close to his teammate, and near the back the driver gets a 3-second time penalty for that many track limits already. Faisal makes a move past Dennis. Has he made it stick? Yes, he has.
As Dennis loses another position to his own teammate, and now Alvaro as well.
Is there something wrong with Dennis's car? It doesn't appear so.
So.
Maybe he's just struggling in the wet.
As Sos goes really scurry out of the exit there, and Alvaro may have to jump on him as he decides not to.
He doesn't quite. Action up and down this field as Ifni is still pressing the back of Niels to try and get this move done to move up into P7. Cyclo won't make a move, you'd imagine, on his teammate in P3. Brandon sets another fastest lap, and Ulat sets one just behind. This is starting to become a very good racer.
As Rob J. Lewis is the second. And East is on the back of him
East
with ERS on.
Can he
and
get
he will go for the lunge into turn 1.
And gets it done.
Very clean from either parties. As East is now 3 positions up so far.
Alvaro sizing up a move on Sus. Maybe down this straight. The first of, well, 3. He takes a very tight line. Is he going to be able to get the traction? As Sus struggles for it. Alvaro is going to push with the RS, but so is Sus, and he won't be able to get the move completed here. So he'll have to wait until at least after the hairpin, you'd imagine.
And Dennis is on the back of Alvaro as well.
That's true. It's a good three-way fight here for P12. And
As Alvaro goes for the dive bomb into the hairpin.
It's a very
Space
good move.
is left by Sus.
Very, very good move. Gets that done with no trouble. As Ifni now right on the back of Niels. He's within 3/10. Out
Does
the
lose the
final
back
corner.
end.
He is not doing well. And Sus gets back past Alvaro, going into the final corner. This battle is just one you cannot take your eyes off.
As East also now gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. As Henke nearly loses the car 3 times out of the a second corner.
He's done well to keep this close to Ifni. As Cycler now is so close to Jake, you'd imagine eventually team orders would swap them around. As we have to look back at Alvaro because he's so close to the back of Sus. He's had to back off, he was that close. Look at the three of them go. As the exit from Alvaro is so much better than Sus.
Niels Fenton makes a mistake as Ifni now goes for the move.
And he will get it done down to the hairpin. Niels can brake later though on the inside. Alvaro gets a time penalty.
He needs to leave to space, and he does.
And
but
to
if
me,
he gets a better run.
To me, Strat, it looks like the rain has cleared up.
Yes, it does, and I believe it may be dry in the next coming lap, and Nulat does pit to serve his drive-through penalty.
Niels,
I believe next lap it may be dry.
Ifni. He's not quite going to get it there, even though Ifni did have a moment. He was very quick, as Faisal also gets penalty. Penalty heaven here.
And Dennis on the back of Alvaro now. He might try and make a move into turn 1, and it seems like he will as he pulls to the side. Alvaro blocks
Alvaro
it.
Does very well there to defend. Positions his car nicely. Dennis looking for a switch
Babble
back.
Man overtakes Rob J. Lewis now to take P18 as he
As
needs
we look
to.
ahead to Henke, right on the back of Niels, who's struggling since Ifni's able to overtake him.
And it seems team orders did come into play
from Niels. He's almost lost the back end, and that does give Henke a free overtake. Going into the chicane, one of several.
It does seem team orders did come into play for the Mercedes.
Yes, you are correct. Makes sense. They can work together here, try and get at Banter Brandon. Not sure they're going to be able to. That car is a rocket on the straight line. As T's, again, very nervous on exit, as Ifni looking to close this gap. Looking to make a move up into the top 5.
I would have thought the rain, it would have been dry by now.
You can see that the line is starting
It's
to
very.
form. I think next lap may be the time when some drivers call it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it would have been that lap and DRS comes open now.
It's still looking a little bit too wet off track, off racing line. Sorry, to be able to do that.
Ifni is on the back of Tees right now, as Tees does hit the wall slightly. It seems like.
Is Ifni going to go for a move here?
Just stay behind.
Is not. There's yellows. It's Niels. Niels is round. Niels is round in P11. He does get going again.
He doesn't have wing damage, though.
Does not have wing damage.
Which is good.
Very, very lucky man.
But now Sus is on the back of him.
Ifni does get past Tees, does manage to get it done. And now Niels is holding up a massive train there. As there's a collision at the back, East and Sergio Silva around. Those two came together.
Both of them got off cleanly. I'm not
East
exactly sure.
Yeah, neither of them have damage. East has gotten away. Xavi is right on the back of Sergio Silva now. Is he going to make the move? He is, as he flies past on much nicer tyres.
Alvaro is on the back of Sus right now and will seem to go for an overtake as Bandit Brandon does go into the pits and sing with Jake.
So, are we about to see the dry tyres come on? Let's have a watch of Banter Brandon. He is on the medium.
And yes, they are medium tyres.
He knows that there's rain to come. Adman stays out. Cyclo stays out. Tees comes onto the mediums as well. Jake the lad is on mediums as well, I believe. As is
Facial
Ifni.
does go on the softs. He is the only one not to go on the mediums.
Basil thinks that the rain's going to come sooner than others think. Is that a gamble, and will it pay off? As the entirety of the top 10, except from Cyclo and Noxie and Adman pit.
Unfortunately for Banderband, he does pick up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits.
That's
and
true.
I believe he is the only one to do so, as
But
no one else.
He was
has
8 seconds clear when he went into the pit lane. So if he can extend this advantage, as there's yellows
as it
for
seems Nula is no Bad Boy Man
is around, and there's 3 cars behind him looking to overtake. Rob J. Lewis is one of them. Sharvey and East, and there's a collision, and Bad Boy Man and East come together. There's 4 of them all fighting. Bad Boy Man gets penalty for that tap.
It seems Rob J. Lewis got illegal overtake due to the yellow flags, which is very unfortunate, as he now picks up another time penalty, unfortunately.
As Cyclo and Noxie are in, Cyclo comes back out ahead on the medium tyres. Noxie comes into his marks, and he too is on the mediums. They are the preferred tyre choice here.
As R28 does get by Neil Centric, it seems like,
Cyclo
with the soft compound
on the cold
tyres.
does touch the grass, and he just about avoids the spin. Faisal with the fastest lap of the race. Banter Brandon is 12
comes out
seconds
right
clear.
behind Tees for 6th place. It seems like right ahead of Henke.
And Ifney is right on the back of Jake the Lad now.
As Fischl spins it!
Faisal on the softs. The only driver to take that gamble, and it's not paid off.
R28 is also on the softs, I believe.
Okay, that's
yes, they're the only 2. So they must think the rain must come sooner than expected.
Jake and Cyclo all within a second here, fighting for P2.
As Nulat seems to is going to make a move on Henke. Spaces left for Nulat as he stays behind Henke.
Does very well there, leaves him enough room, but still stays ahead. And now Ifney's going to look to try and get past.
Facial goes really deep into the hairpin as well.
The Mercedes going to have to work together here. Ifney almost into the back of Jake. As Ifney is pushing to get past. He wants this done. And there's a Ferrari of Nulat. Nulat's round. Oh, and he's hit Adman Trev, and they're both out. He's done what he did last week in Azerbaijan. Oh, and there's Sus. No, not Sus.
And that is the safety car.
Oh, and Dennis goes into Trev. Oh, and it's not good. It's really not good racing. Faisal's also out. Faisal has DNF'd in the pit lane, it would seem. And again, for the 2nd week running, Nulat has spun it, and then he has either reversed or driven into another car.
It seems... I'm not really sure what happened.
Is not good news for Banter Brandon, who has got a 5-second penalty. You'd imagine he'd come into the pits now to serve it.
Really go on the softs or really go on the hards, though, is the
You would think he has to go onto the softs, because the rain will come later on in this race. He does not decide to come in. He stays out with that penalty. Surprising decision, but maybe the right one. Maybe the tyres that he was going to go onto wouldn't last.
The only question though is Dennis has gone on the hards after going into the pits. It seems he was the one who made contact with Facial, as he did pick up a 5-second time penalty for contact with him. As he now gets a drive-through penalty.
Under the safety car. The race has gone bad for worse for him. Started in P5, had a great qualifying session. He has really, really struggled this race, and you've got to feel for the Haas driver.
I'm not exactly sure what's happened. Henke made contact with Nulat, and Adman Trev got exceeding track limits just before they both got terminal damage. Dennis had a severe collision with Adman Trev, which resulted in him getting a 5-second time penalty. So it seems Faisal was just a innocent bystander in all of it, and just got picked up in all the collision.
See now, on the map in the bottom right, it looked like Faisal retired in the pit lane. I'm not sure if he did, he may not have done, but it looked like it. Oh, so there was a collision between Henke and Newlat. That's what made Newlat spin. So coming together between the Aston Martin and the Ferrari didn't leave the Aston Martin with any kind of damage. Doesn't appear so,
Or what
no.
it seems. Thing is, Newlat was behind Henke going into the chicane. So was Newlat at fault for potentially trying to make a move which was never going to happen? I guess we won't know till the POVs and VODs are reviewed.
Yeah.
However, on position changes, and Ifni has gained 8 positions, and driver R28 has gained 9 from starting P18. He is now P9, only 2 positions behind his teammate Henke, who has also gained 4 positions. Solid races from East, Alvo and Sus all gaining 6 positions as well. As the safety car will come in this lap, and Banter Brandon will start the restart.
Train, as he did so many
Followed by
times last
Jake
week.
Valad, followed by Cyclo, and then followed by Ifni.
It's just like last year. We've got the 2 Red Bulls and the 2 Mercedes in the top 4. When will we see Brandon go? You'd imagine it'd be just after the final corner, but he's not. He's gone already. Brandon has gone and he's caught Jake off guard, but Brandon has a mistake. Brandon makes a mistake because Jake has to give it up. Jake has to give it up. That's so unfortunate for the Mercedes because the Red Bull made the error. That is heartbreaking. That was his one opportunity to make the move. And now behind, has anything happened behind? It doesn't appear so. Barberman close to the back of Alvaro. Dennis in the pits. On the
back of driver R28.
The McLaren, is he going to be able to get this move done? Stays behind for now, as Jake is pressing Brandon at the front. As we watch Noxie now closing in on Tees, who is already outside of the DRS zone of Ifni, as Tees makes a little error. As Noxie, late on the brakes, locks up. Has to avoid
just
Tees.
Misses.
And now
Barberman goes down the inside. As a car spins behind and is out. Xavi is out of this race after making contact with the wall yet
another
again.
Safety car. I'm glad you saw that because I didn't, but there is the remains of Xavi's Alpine. He's not had a good quality all race today.
It seems no one made contact with Xavi and it was just a driver error, it seems like. Which is very, very unfortunate. As now Rob J. Lewis does pit for the softs.
It's very rare as well for someone like Xavi to make a driver error that costs him his race.
And Dennis follows suit on the softs as well, as he does finally take away his drive-through penalty, which he did serve straight after the safety car.
So the safety car is on reduced. But that is the second time we've seen it in 2 laps.
One, virtual and 2 safety cars.
So we have Tees in a Williams in P5, Noxie in an Alpha.
Oh, what the hell?
What has just happened here?
Noxie has just taken Ifni out. Is that desync?
And Cyclo.
Cyclo is also out.
That was out in the incident. What has just happened? Noxie has left the session
and gains a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. There must have been a desync.
Well, Noxie's just sent a message in the Discord. I'm going to go he doesn't know what's just happened.
I'm not sure any of the other drivers knows exactly what's happened as well. That is very unfortunate.
He's been kicked. His screen went black.
And his AI took control.
Wow, something took control. Because that has ended the race of Ifni.
And it seems also
basically ended Cyclo's race.
As he will start P15 now, behind everyone else on hard tyres. That's very unfortunate. It is very horrible when it happens to you, as I've also been a victim of it at Australia after having a good race myself, but these things do happen and we can't do anything about it, as it is, you know, in the game. It's a glitch in the game and we can't control it whatsoever. As the safety car will come in this lap, as it seems Noxie and Tease, even though Noxie isn't in this race, it seems Tease is trying to get
It's just up to the FIA whether we do a 25 race now to fix that.
Or is everyone's tyres on?
Well, everyone's on the exact same tyres, they all pitted the same lap.
Not everyone.
But the penalties made that a big play. I'm not sure we can really do that.
I mean, do you want to count every single penalty? I mean, it's going to be chaotic when the race ends. We won't actually know, and if people do pit, then I think we'll just have to carry on, as unfortunate as it is. As Tyres does get the run on Noxie, even though I don't think that is legit, as Noxie does evade, as so does Henke get past as well. As Sus also tries to make a move. So it does seem his AI has just taken control of this race. But Jake is now on the back of Brandon.
It's very, very strange what's just happened here.
Henke is also now on the back of Tease, as he may try and make a move, as Noxie now finally joins back in the session and loses another 2 positions. Make that nearly 3, as Babbleman goes around the outside in the second chicane, as now Alvaro Carlton is also trying to lunge for the move. But it seems Noxie has taken back control on cold tyres, it seems like, as now he is losing more positions due to it.
As Henke is right on the back of Tease.
McLaren makes the move on Noxie as well, and so does Cyclo, promoting himself up to 11th now after starting P15 at the start of the safety car. Dennis also makes the move on Rob J. Lewis, both on the soft compound tyres and the most freshly used.
And Brandon has disappeared up the road from Jake, no longer in DRS, as Noxie pits. What's he doing here? He's retired from the session.
And he does retire. I think that was the most sensible thing he could have done, in all fairness. As Neil Stendrick makes the move on R28, as Henke does get his first 3-second time penalty of this race, as Babbleman also now makes the move on R28. Will R28 be able to stay with him on 9-lap old softs, as he loses to the back end
as
spins
driver
it?
is round, he's in the wall. Has he got damage?
No, he does not.
Although he has just hit the wall again. He's still got no damage.
But Cyclo does make the move on East, promoting himself up to P9 now. Cyclo is cutting his way through this field right now, as now he's on the back of Alvaro, as he does lose the back end slightly. But he does get the better run out of the corner, and now makes his way past Alvaro, as Dennis gets past East as well.
And we're watching on board here with Henke, because he's been pushing Tease along since the first safety car, looking for a way past. And those three are the proper gainers here, aren't they? Sus up 9, Henke up 7, and Tease up 6. Talking to Tease, 3-second time penalty has been awarded for track limits. Jake trying to stick onto the back of Brandon, but it's not quite working. And don't forget, we are expecting more rain towards the end of this race.
Dennis is now on the back of Alvaro, as Alvaro does seem to go a bit screwy out of that sector.
And drivers round again.
He is going to let Alvaro by as they go side by side. Alvaro is letting them go by, it seems like, as he does not want to fight, but that may hinder his race come later on.
Alvaro is out of ERS as well. Nothing left.
I think he's still on the back of T's.
Cyclo also has no ERS.
He has been pushing, and respectively he's gained 7 positions so far in the last like 3 or so laps.
Are battling very hard here with Bad Boy
as
Man.
Bad Boy Man hits the wall, and that seems to be end plate damage.
No,
as he goes for the dive bomb.
He is going for the move. He pushes Sus off the track. It's not a good move.
As that hinders him, and Cyclo does make the move on Sus now.
As Sus looking to attack back, not quite going to be able to do it here. And there's more yellows.
And Cyclo is out, Cyclo is out, and so is Sus. As Centric hits the wall and takes both of them out.
And we are down to only 11 left.
And that is another safety car. That is so unfortunate for Cyclo and Sus. That is so unfortunate. But Banter Brandon does carry on first place with the 5-second time penalty. As Babbleman does get a drive through as he goes into the pits. So he will have to go into pits again at the end of this race, as he did get wing damage.
As Babbleman and Dennis both in, so Sergio Silva. And now I don't know how many of the top, well, the finishing 11 are left with penalties, as we can't see those 3 that have pitted. But I think a great majority have all got penalties.
8 second. Jake the Lad is the only one without a penalty yet for track limits.
Right, let's have a look at these penalties. 8 seconds for Brandon. This safety car will not be helping him. Jake in P2, T's with a 3, Henke with a 3, East and Alvaro with a 6, Rob with a 15, Dennis with a 3, Bad Boy Man with a drive-through, as earlier stated, Sergio Silva with a 3 second, and the driver with 12. There is a lot of work to do for some of these drivers if they want to get the final points, as only one of the remaining drivers will miss out on points. You don't want it to be you.
Even though there has been a lot of instances and DNFs, this has been a much cleaner race than last week's. It seems people are just making more errors themselves, and people are just getting picked up instead of people actually taking each other out by making silly mistakes, it seems like. But will that continue with people making mistakes, and will more people drop out? As Rob J. Lewis does pit for 7-lap mediums.
Tell you what, there's no sign of rain in the air.
So it seems a lot of people are in AI under the safety car, which may have caused something, which is why there was such a big issue with Noxie. I may be wrong in saying that, but unless that,
I'm not sure what more knocks he can do there. He's had a very big issue.
it's very unfortunate as he was having an amazing race throughout. But Banter Brandon will start the safety car restart yet again for the third time this race, as Jake Ladd will be right behind him again. And will he catch him out is the question at hand.
And he does not. Jake does get a decent restart.
As Henke does as well.
And Bad Boy Man gets a very poor... Oh, he's into the pits, that's why. He's serving his drive-through. Everything makes sense
as
now.
Henke is right on the back of Tees.
As he has been for the entire race. Don't forget, he's been here since, I think, lap 11 behind Tees, pushing him along. As there is...
As Dennis... As Alvaro hits the wall right behind East as well.
As Henke...
And that may be wing damage.
I'm not sure if he's been able to get the moves done, you know, because the Williams so fast in a straight line.
As you can see, as the Williams just pulls away down the straight.
And Dennis and Alvaro keep it clean. It's very good racing. It seems
Alvaro did get wing damage after all. It's very unfortunate as he was having a great race so far.
Alvaro doesn't appear to have wing damage.
He did shunt the wall quite harshly.
Well, now East and Dennis are... Dennis has made the move quite quickly there. And East can't do...
As Henke is only 3/10 behind now.
A lot to defend
that. He's just sticking behind.
And now the drivers are starting to spread out more evenly.
Sauce has left the session, even though he has already DNF'd this race.
So Henke and Tees, the closest battle on track, as has been the case for most of this race. As we ride on board with Henke.
As Bad Boy Man does go into the pits yet again. It seems to try and get a new, fresh set of tyres, as he did go on mediums, which are 12 lap old. Oh no, he has gone out of the pits on 13 lap old mediums. Sorry for that. As Henke is still right on the back of Tees.
He is. That's the battle we're riding on board with, because no other car seems to be putting up a fight. Brandon has escaped the DRS of Jake, as is the case from Jake to Tees.
Did Henke hit the back of Tees there?
Henke
as he loses the back end.
Struggles there for traction out the corner, and that may
and this may
be
for Dennis, yes. But he decided to just turn the ELS and stay behind, as there's no point in trying to get any closer for now. As the ELS is finally enabled, as R28 does get another 3-second time penalty for cutting the final chicane.
Are on the same amount of time penalties now. But as it stands, it would not be enough to move Bad Boy Man up into the points. Can I just say how phenomenal Jake has been here not to get a penalty?
Yeah, it's
I'm not even sure if he's had a warning, but it's very, very cool. And now,
Dennis is right on the back of Henke now.
Henke and Tees all within 7.5 tenths, 3/4 of a second.
It seems Henke is running a much higher downforce setup than everyone else. As they go gearbox to gearbox, pretty much through
Henke
the
is
hairpin.
the one with the run here.
But he is low on ELS, and he can't turn it. That is enough swerving from him. He can't keep on doing that down the straight. As Henke does get closer through the chicane, will he try and make the move
and
here?
You can see the red light flashing on the Williams. The Williams straight line speed though is just magnificent. As Henke tries to get around the inside, and it's very good racing between the two of them. He doesn't give Henke enough space, but
indeed,
very good racing.
Henke does get by.
He did leave enough space, evidently. As Tees will just let him go and look for the switchback. which he's not going to get. Finally, after 14 laps, Henke does finally get past Tees in the Williams, and Dennis will be licking his lips here, looking, and Tees makes a mistake. That's the easiest overtake Dennis would have got all day.
I think Henke might be in trouble here, as if you look at the ERS, Dennis has used
and
none of
Barberman
it.
is out in the pits. He has retired, so the final 10 drivers left will all get at least a point for their respective team. And that is that's very good news for the Aston Martins.
As
and
Henke makes another mistake out of the hairpin. And this will just give Dennis the easiest run of his life as he turns on the DRS and ERS and flies past Henke, who has nothing to defend with.
Tees has also flown back past Henke, as Tees is right on the back of Dennis. The straight line speed, and Dennis gets another time penalty. That could be crucial towards the end of the race. There's only 10 laps left, and Tees and Henke would both gain a position due to that new penalty there from Dennis.
And one thing I have started to realise, it is getting darker and darker as the laps go on.
Is there going to be enough rain
and Jake
enough time?
Gets his first time penalty of this race after 26 laps, being the final one to do so.
That still would promote him to P1 should it finish like this.
But Dennis has completely rocketed, nearly breaking the second in just the first sector from Tees, but he does stick on.
Yeah, and Tees will gain all that time back here down the straights, because he is just very, very fast.
And R28 gets another penalty,
up to
as he is right on the back of Alvaro now.
And there's a mistake from Tees. Does he have DRS? He does. He just manages to keep hold of DRS there.
And driver R28 does make the move on Alvaro, as it seems Alvaro is just letting every driver go by as they come.
It's a cool strategy. I mean, he will get that place back due to the penalties at the end of this race.
Well, now Sergio Silva is on the back.
Dennis has broken that DRS from Tees. And yeah, you're right, Sergio Silva. And there we go, Rob gets his next penalty after cutting the final corner.
And Tees has also broken the DRS or not. Henke does gain some time back going through the chicane and will get the DRS. That's the droplets of rain. Rain has finally came. But when will it be enough?
Is it gonna pour, or is it just gonna splatter like this? So at the minute, this is gonna take a fair few laps for this track to get damp enough to warrant linters.
As Henke makes another mistake again, getting on the curb.
And he will lose DRS after this straight, you would imagine. I don't believe.
Isn't it a double DRS?
Yes, it is, but maybe that was the rain playing the factor, or was that just Henke with a driver error? Tees does make a mistake that final corner though, and will promote Henke back up into the DRS. And it's side-by-side action from Alvaro and Sergio, but Sergio
does
had
go
to
off,
take the escape route after maybe being forced off potentially. We'll have to.
And Tees makes a mistake as well, but he does stay on track for now.
Dennis has completely disappeared.
Yeah. He is on 10 lap flash the tyres though, so it is time for the wet. So we will see every driver go into the pits now.
So it's right
but Banter Brandon will have to serve. Banter Brandon will have to serve, and Jake the Lad will potentially take the lead of this race.
Brandon taking this very steadily at the minute, just to not make any mistakes.
But Dennis is right on the back of Jake the Lad right now.
There's yellows. It's for the driver who's round and has got no wing. The driver has no wing left. He's hit the wall at... It must have been at pace.
As Alvaro also spins it coming out of the hairpin.
And
as it is dropping heavily now.
Good chance to make the overtake. He tried to make last lap and got forced to cut the corner. As Dennis... Oh, Dennis just got a longer go towards...
Banter Brandon has been held in the pits by 3 cars, and now he comes out finally right
Just
behind Jake the Lad.
Who's behind
He
Dennis?
was held, and Dennis has jumped them both.
Dennis
As
has taken the lead
Alvaro,
in this race.
as Alvaro does get a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pits.
Dennis has taken the lead in this race in the Haas. This is quite extraordinary, Strat.
But now will we see Brandon come into play with, it seemed he did have a wet setup on, as he did gap Nulat very early on in this race. So will he be able to overtake and gain as much time as he did to begin with on those inters? Or will he be stuck behind both Jake and Dennis?
And he's had to slow down quite a bit.
And I think that may be the case with Henke, as he is running a higher downforce setup than Tees was, as Tees does come a bit squirrely out of Sec 2. But look at this from Banter, just on the back of Jake the Lad, and gets amazing traction so as he gets past. Makes that look so effortlessly.
Managed to find a way past Dennis in P1. As maybe another track limits one left, Brandon. Looked like he cut the corner. Jake needs to stick with him now and just try and follow him through. As you can see the pace difference, Brandon starting to push the Haas along.
Brandon did indeed get a track limits warnings for that, and so did Dennis.
So Brandon now needs to be on his best behaviour, not to cut another one.
As Henke loses the car and does hit the wall, he may have damage, as it doesn't seem visible for the time being.
Not damage, no. Brandon now within 2/10 of Dennis. Definitely a wet setup on this car.
As Henke does get a time penalty, as he is still fighting with the car through the corners.
It's not going to make a difference. East behind has got a 12-second.
As
and the driver
does go into the wall. And that is a safety car.
That has ruined Dennis's chances here of breaking away from that 6-second. That could lose him countless positions here. But again, another race where we've seen far too many safety cars, and we're down to 9 finishers as it stands.
I'll be back in a moment.
So, Dennis in the Haas is going to have to choose the exact right moment to go in this race.
So it seems at the end of the safety car we'll only have 3 laps to go to the end of this race.
As we go through for another lap under the safety car. Gotten quite used to that over the last 3 weeks. So the key question here is, how long can Dennis stay ahead for? And if he can stay ahead, can he gap Brandon by 3 seconds? However unlikely it is, Brandon has got a mistake or two in him. We've seen that this race already. A few squirrely moments on the exit of corners. And Dennis with a great opportunity to score some fantastic points for Haas, who really this season haven't got going. I think the Haas are on something like 12 points, something like that. It's very low. Here we go. Safety car will be in this lap, and it will be Dennis in the Haas to lead them away. What can he do to keep the Red Bull behind him?
So Brandon is on 4 warnings as it stands right now. And Dennis gets away.
He has gone. Brandon has followed. He won't get in this straight, you'd imagine, although the use of the ERS is really going to close the gap. Jake on the back of Brandon as well. And then there's a big gap to Tease, who's once again under pressure by guess who? Henke. It's been like that all race. And Brandon does get past Dennis. We've missed that. Dennis has made a mistake and Brandon does ease past. Can Jake in the Mercedes take the opportunity to get past? He's going to go around the outside.
Yes, he does.
He's got the inside for this corner and he has made the move stick.
Tease goes deep into the corner and lets Henke by. Henke gets by. But will he have enough time to gap that 3 seconds?
I'm not sure, you know, because Tease in a straight line is very, very quick.
But it doesn't seem to be doing enough, as Henke is just gaining time, it seems like, as he is now on the back of Dennis. But Brandon has made that 1 second gap to Jake the Lad, as Jake the Lad has made also that 1 second gap to Dennis as well. So it seems to be the fight between Dennis and Henke, who both have a 6 second time penalty.
As now,
so they are both fighting for track position here, as Henke does get by.
Dennis makes a very, very severe error going through the exit of the final corner. And Henke is up into P3 for now. Can he pull out of Tease's, well, 3 seconds?
3 seconds.
As Jake cannot quite keep on the back of Brandon, who has disappeared up the road. Will we see any more on-track overtakes from this action-packed Canadian Grand Prix? East with 12 seconds, Alvaro with 11, Rob with 21, 3 drivers on 6 and 3 drivers on 3.
It seems Dennis is making mistake after mistake, as now Tease is right on the back of Dennis.
Tease is going to make a move on track, and he's going to go around the outside of the hairpin, but Dennis does well
cross.
Dennis does well to just slot in behind and go for the switchback, but the pace of the Williams on the straight line is just too fast.
That could have ended both their races, what Tease did there, if Dennis wasn't so careful.
Thankfully it didn't. It's the attitude I've got right now. There's 9 drivers left. Alvaro gets another penalty, that takes him to 14 seconds. Sergio Silva is looking at a 2-place promotion here.
And Henke is right on the back of Jake the Lad on the final lap of this race. Will Henke be able to get close enough and make the overtake? It may not be. Yeah, it may not be P2 for the race result, but it will be P2 on track if he's able to make the move.
And watch that gap. Watch next to Tease's name, 2.8 seconds. If he can keep that under 3, he will be a podium sitter for the 3rd time this season. If not, Henke will be on it for the first time this season.
As Henke does make the
Jake.
mistake,
Henke
and he makes another mistake,
out.
and Henke is out on the final lap of this race, which will promote Tees up to P3.
It promotes everyone
Dennis
up
to P4.
Henke, wow, pushing too hard to try and get Jake, trying to get out of the 3 seconds of Tees, pushes too hard and over the edge of the limit, into the wall.
And this is the only one close enough.
And now, Brandon, around the
does
final
not matter.
corner, comes home to win the Canadian Grand Prix with a 3-second penalty. Jake the lad in the Mercedes will be very happy with the P2, knows he could do nothing more, and even more happy Tees on the podium once again for Williams. Dennis in a Haas, another phenomenal performance. East P5 starting from the back of the grid, Alvaro P6, Sergio P7, and Rob J. Lewis, even with 21 seconds, will take P8.
And Sergio does get promoted up to P6 there due to the amount of penalties Alvaro did have.
And that, as much as it was a messy race, plenty of retirees, very entertaining to say the least. Harvey mute. So there you have it, Brandon on the top step of the podium. If you would like to join up to the commentary box, Brandon, Jake and Tees for the interview. It's a very long race, this one. It's been 2 hours. Driver of the day will be announced afterwards, East, and Henke is very sad after what could have been. Right, is that everyone in?
Are Jake and Thingy even in the party?
That's what I just asked.
I'll add them.
Only you are for now.
Oh.
I'm adding them.
And me.
Jake and Cheese need to be added to the party. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Can we kick Harvey?
No, shush.
No, I'm the team boss.
No, you don't even shush, but
He's
you want me
in
to
the
do
pie.
it.
Yeah, very well played, Dennis. P4 debut with a Haas. That's impressive. Very impressive.
And is that everyone in? I believe so, and we will start the interview with Tees, who started P9 on the grid and made his way to get a podium position for third. Tell me about your race, mate.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was great.
What was your plan for that race? Was it to run a high downforce setup and use the range to your advantage, or tell me about it?
No, I just kept my setup. I didn't did something with my setup, just normal drive setup.
Was that discussed between your teammate and yourself, or
No, he went for a high downforce setup, so he hoped for rain, and it worked out for him, I think so.
Yeah, a good result for Williams as a whole, as I believe
Yeah.
that's 16 points in total? Which is
Yeah, where
great.
did Rob finish?
P10, I believe.
Oh,
I may
yeah.
be
Then
wrong.
it's 16 points, yeah.
No, he finished P8, sorry.
Oh, really? Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for the team, definitely.
Was there some moments in the race where you wished you could have improved, or done something a bit different?
Yeah, my stint on the medium tire, my tires were dead at the end, so I was quite slow. And also in turn 1, my traction there wasn't great. I don't know why, but in the race it was terrible.
I believe a lot of you did over 20 laps on those mediums. Like,
Yeah,
how much
yeah, the
time
tires.
do they have?
I think I had 65 to 70, something like that. Yeah, the Williams isn't great on the tire, so it was quite hard at the end. I was happy the rain felt.
Well, congratulations for coming third from starting ninth on the grid as well.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will move to Jake the Lad, who came second place after starting sixth on the grid. How was your race?
I mean, I don't know. I'm happy, but I'm also a bit like disappointed. I feel like the win was on, but a couple of safety cars kind of.
I say you was behind Brandon for the majority of that race, right behind him.
Yeah.
The win was at sight, but I guess not enough.
Just all the safety cars, it just kind of ruined it all. And then obviously the change in weather, it's just a bit hard. But nah, fair play to Brandon. Kid's got pace, man.
Yeah. So, apart from all the safety cars and obviously the unfortunate result of not winning the race, but P2 is still such a good result. How do you think your race went, and for the team as well?
I mean, obviously I didn't really start too high up, and I was kind of just more or less prioritising cyclo. So I think, obviously on the start I gained about 2 positions. I think I put me in third. I think it was third or fourth, can't remember. A couple of laps went on, and I was literally just like checking how fast cyclo was doing, and he was just on me like all the time. So I got round to I think like turn 3. I was just like, right, you can go, let him go. I was just more or less like aiming for him to have that podium, and nah, never did I really think I was going to be ending up on it, but yeah, you know, we take those.
And so we realised, whilst on the cast, that we thought it was Team Order or something that you let Cyclo go, and you two had the pace the entire race, it seems like, and also in quali.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where this pace has come from, Cyclo. I mean, I feel quite proud of him.
Always playing that big
Maybe
brother role,
you can
Jake.
both.
Of course, mate.
Yeah. Hopefully, good results in the future with you and Cyclo both with great pace in the Mercedes.
Of course, mate. Appreciate it.
Well, congratulations on P2.
Cheers, guys.
And we'll finally go to our winner of the race, Banter Brandon, who dominated the entire race from start to finish, it seems like, especially in the wets. Tell me about your race.
Class. Pure class.
Jesus.
Is that it?
No, yeah, it was good. Obviously, the rain mixed up a bit, but yeah, it was kind of the race I was expecting. Safety cars, loads of stoppages, all that crap with the rain. It's just standard. So yeah, I mean, I put a foot wrong once under a restart, but Jake got really unlucky and had to give it back. So yeah,
Yeah, you got very
pretty
lucky
with that
there.
one. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, really good, and yeah, happy with the win.
Were you running a wet setup that race? Because it seemed you was quite off the pace in quali compared to Nula, at least, considering you did get P2 on the grid.
I'd say it was more a dry setup, but I guess it was a bit converted into a wet as well. But yeah, it was definitely better in the wet compared to the dry.
I believe you pulled a 8-second gap to P2 at the end of the first Inters stint, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It wasn't very easy out there, but yeah, just gotta be cautious, and yeah, the car felt good. It felt better in the wet, so yeah, W.
What? Obviously, Ifni unfortunately crashed this race, but were you trying to work with Ifni to get him up?
Loser!
Were you trying to work
not
with him
really.
to get him
He
up
started,
to places?
He got knocked out in Q2, so yeah, he was just doing his own thing, and he did come back to like P4, but
Yeah, he did.
he got taken out from what he's saying under safety car, so we'll see what happens there.
Well, go forward in the race. Hopefully you can keep this dominance up as you already are. And it seems that the World Drivers' Championship is in your hands.
Whoa,
You know?
It's not going that far yet.
Well, for now it is.
Shush.
Okay, for now.
Right. Thank you, Brandon. Well done on your P1, mate.
Yeah, cheers. Why are you trying to finish it so quick, you mug?
Right.
Because he doesn't want me to start giving
Right.
people curses.
Also, we need to do driver of the day, which there's been so many contenders for today. You had East going from P20 to P5. Brandon absolutely dominated the race. T's on the podium in the Williams. Dennis
It's tease. It's tease.
Dennis
It should
P4
be.
in a Haas. You've got Rob J. Lewis finishing P8. Remarkable from him. But I have to say, driver of the day today goes to East in the McLaren. P20. P20 to P5 in the race was just phenomenal. Tease does get a big shout out though, but he's done
You
that
get my vote, Tease.
far too many times
Yeah,
this
thank you,
season.
thank
He's just too consistent. But yeah, very good race from all of you. And please keep up high standards. Everyone that finished today. I understand the penalties are difficult in Canada, but let's try and get this DNS next week. Right, come back next week for round 10 of RPL, and we'll see you next Wednesday night.